So, you have a movie for me?
I am a collector. What?
Gentlemen, this is...
I don't blame you one bit.
Is there a better sketch show than Chappelle Show? The correct answer is no.
That is correct.
Unless, of course, you're one of the most diabolical haters this side of the Mississippi.
You hateful, diabolical sons of bitches.
No other comedian or actor has made their mark on sketch comedy quite like Chappelle has, especially in 2 and a bit seasons. Even today, Chappelle's Show is still often referred to as one of the most hilarious sketch comedy programs of all time. I'm Adam from FWCI, and I went through every sketch from seasons 1 and 2 of Chappelle's Show, and a few from the lost episodes as well, and ranked them in order of which I find to be the funniest. This video is totally subjective, but let me know in the comments what rankings you agree with or disagree with. For this video, we will be covering entries 97 to 61, but make sure to subscribe for parts 2 and 3 coming soon. So grab a Sam Jackson beer, stretch out on the couch, hit the like button, and enjoy every Chappelle Show sketch ranked part 1.
Let's start the show.
Number 97, the 2-minute special. This is my least favourite sketch. I just found this to be a little bit boring, and the joke at the end of it didn't seem like a good enough payoff for me. Number 96, Miss Cleo. This season 1 sketch may be funnier to Americans that know more about the telephone psychic Miss Cleo, but it didn't do a great deal for me. The bogus Jamaican accent is hilarious, but this is not an example of Chappelle's finest work. Number 95, Racist Animals in Hollywood. Another season 1 sketch that just didn't really hit the mark with me. The sketch is about famous animals throughout Hollywood history that all had bigoted outlooks on life. I like the idea, but the execution wasn't there. Number 94, Ask a Gay Dude with Mario Cantone. I don't know who Mario Cantone is, but his angry gay humor didn't really connect with me. It was fun seeing Dee Snider on there asking questions, but this sketch is an easy one to skip. Number 93, Diversity in First Class. A fun little intermission sketch. This is a simple but hilarious take on how every race is terrified of another race, or species in the case of the water buffalo. It is an oddly inspiring sketch that is only funny because it has that Chappelle polish to it. Number 92, the Mitsubishi Titty Committee. The first ever Chappelle's Show sketch to air is still a fun little watch, and it is funnier than most other sketch shows, but Dave's talent would extend so far beyond the awkward white girl dancing gag in this one. The freeze frame of the girl's titty popping out shows Chappelle's comedic genius when it comes to basic video editing, and feels like an early precursor to what memes have become today. Number 91, Jedi Scandal. From the perspective of somebody who doesn't really care for Star Wars, this sketch may be less funnier to me than it actually was. It was fun seeing Dave dressed as Yoda, and bringing Samuel L. Jackson into the sketch totally out of character is still pretty hilarious. Number 90, O'Dweeds. This sketch was perfect for what it was, a cold open to the episode that shows off a glimpse of Chappelle's ability to take a joke way past the line when he blows non-THC smoke directly from a bong into a baby's face.
Shotgun, little buddy.
Number 89, Def Poetry Jam. I won't lie, I don't even really get the joke that Chappelle makes during this sketch, but personally I still love the premise, and most Def saying,
Ow! Are you ready for some poetry, motherfuckers?
gives this sketch a little boost up the list. Number 88, MTV Cribs. During season 3, we get a long, weird sketch about Hollywood. There were some highlights that'll come up later in the countdown, but I had to give the MTV Cribs section its own entry. Hollywood Dave is something else, from rocking a coat that is half bald eagle and half white panda, to eating an actual baby T-Rex. This parody of the excessive wealth that some celebrities display is absolutely brutal. I almost get a sense that Chappelle's mental health and outlook on the show was starting to wane at this point. I could be wrong, but the way this role was acted, it felt a bit more spiteful and fed up than Dave usually is. Number 87, New York Boobs. So I feel like now we're getting into the zone of sketches that really make me laugh. New York Boobs has a great intro explaining the sketch. Chappelle looks hilarious throughout the sketch, and a cameo from Joe Rogan just puts the stupid, goofy segment completely over the top. Number 86. Real sex street interview. For such a short sketch, this was way funnier than it has any business being. Chappelle playing the shocked date that seemed pretty upset that his lady friend had a threesome with 2 guys in college is pure gold. I know serious acting is not what Dave is known for, but his disgust here is so believable. I love it. Number 85, Negradamus. Paul Mooney is Negradamus in a series of sketches. I found these to be somewhat enjoyable, but the energy of Paul Mooney's delivery doesn't always connect with my sense of humor sometimes. But every single answer that Mooney provides is clever and humorous. Almost as much as number 84, Ask a Black Dude with Paul Mooney. Ask a Black Dude and Negradamus are very close in quality in my opinion. I think the jokes and delivery in Ask a Black Dude is a bit more enjoyable than Negradamus, and the weird questions people are asking are very odd, which Mooney plays off of perfectly. Also, Stephen King? Number 83, It's a Wonderful Chest. Chappelle does a parody of It's a Wonderful Life, but the topic of the girl who doesn't like her giant breasts has moments of real comedy gold. The pervy neighbor blowing up the world because he has no busty woman to creep on makes me laugh every time. It just takes the situation to a completely absurd level, which the audience is rarely prepared for, and that is an art in itself. Number 82. Real movie endings, Pretty Woman. A short real movie ending, this is basically a one-joke sketch, but with the context of the movie Pretty Woman, this joke lands so unbelievably hard and is well worth the time it took to set up. It's a perfect movie parody one-liner.
Okay. You gotta get the fuck out of here.
Number 81, The Love Contract. Rashida Jones kicks off the Rick James episode in her sketch with Dave called The Love Contract. Simple premise, it's a contract that legally proves that sex is consensual and agreed on. This sketch feels like it was plucked right out of 2019, so far ahead of its time, and of course the punchline in the end is hilarious and a great callback to a previous sketch.
Kobe!
Number 80, Cyrus Holloway and the Shit-In. In a sketch that may go on a little bit too long, Chappelle plays Cyrus Holloway, the first black man in history to use a public bathroom reserved for white people. Chappelle's delivery as Old Man Cyrus is just hilarious, but it's Charlie Murphy as Reverend Charles Welton who steals the show, all in regards to matters of the kakiduki.
And the stinky.
Number 79, Roots Deleted Scenes. This sketch, which imagines the DVD bonus footage from the Roots TV series, takes an incredibly serious topic and turns up the silliness to 11. The bloopers they show are borderline slapstick and corny as hell. It totally decompresses the topic at hand, purely for the purpose of comedy. Number 78, The Home Shopping Network. An interesting sketch in which Chappelle doesn't appear at all except for some minor introductions to hold the clips together. This just shows the immature and childish side of Chappelle's humor, which combined with the serious, hoity-toity world of home shopping channels ends up being a brilliant move. This is another sketch that is way funnier than it has any business being. Number 77, Don't Ride Your Bike on Weed. The Half-Baked crew returns for a cameo as they parody a community service announcement commercial detailing the dangers of smoking marijuana. After the goofy stoner dialogue has lured the audience into a sense of almost boredom with how repetitious it is.
Let me get my cheddar burger, man. Let me get my cheddar burger, man. Give me a cheddar burger, man.
Chill out with that cheddar burger.
The punchline hits the viewer out of nowhere, like this. Number 76, Real Movie Endings, The Matrix. While this sketch is short, the almost hammy version of the Matrix opening scene is very entertaining. The actor playing Neo has a great balance between being cheesy and straight, and the reveal at the end is that it was Earl who wanted to borrow a stapler all along is that glorious, silly Chappelle Show comedy that we all know and love. Number 75, The Real Side of Gary Coleman. I'm not sure if this sketch was finished or not, but the visual gag with Dave as Gary Coleman was hilarious on its own. Couple that with the premise and the actress they had playing the antagonist, this sketch is one that you can't help but end up chuckling at. Number 74, Black Gallagher. Black Gallagher is a solid gold nugget of comedy, referencing the 1970s gimmick comedian Gallagher, whose gimmick was to smash a watermelon with a mallet, covering the audience with watermelon splashback. But of course, Chappelle has to put his undeniable twist on it and gives us Black Gallagher. The punchline with the handgun is amazing, but the live introduction and build up by Gallagher makes this entire sketch just brilliant.
I got warrants.
Number 73, Fisticuffs, Turn My Headphones Up. Another sketch that maybe goes on a little bit too long. Fisticuffs is pure season 1 Chappelle Show at its most true. A parody of the hype that came with 50 Cent Curtis Jackson's Hip Hop Ascent. The fact that Fisticuffs can't hear anything out of his left ear due to being shot in the ear like 8 times gives this sketch a slightly delayed but well worthwhile payoff. Number 72, Genetic Dissenter. This short sketch just escalates as it goes on. The concept of Chappelle recapping his ancestral history of dissenters is very original. This sketch has shades of the Three Daves sketch, and Chappelle's ability to point out things like consistency throughout generations is second to none. Number 71, Ribs. The follow-up with the audience is just as funny as the actual sketch.
Wine comes in a box, man? God damn.
Chappelle is having a hard time getting some shut-eye, and his wife brings him Ribs, a black people's sleeping aid. The concept is okay, but the scrolling list of side effects is what makes this sketch memorable. I can't count the number of times that I've used the word mud butt in actual conversation since seeing this sketch.
Mud butt.
Speaking of mud butt, number 70, Diarrhea Opera. Diarrhea. Is there anything funnier? No, there is not. Fun fact, by the way, your mouth makes the same shape as your butthole makes when you say the word poop. The same can be said about explosive diarrhea. But anyway, Chappelle conducting a choir singing children's diarrhea songs is just top shelf comedy, especially in response to his show being called immature and sub-sophomoric. Number 69, the And One Mixtape. An early Chappelle Show sketch, this sketch will always be known as the introduction of the dancing robot guy. There is a great cast of characters in this sketch poking fun at the And One basketball mixtapes that were really popular in the early 2000s. Sports icons like Ronnie Fielder's Choice Banks, Kenny Baseline Sims, and Reggie Gutter Balls Bryant grace us with their athletic prowess in this sketch that is just ripe for quotable lines when playing NBA 2K with your friends, but more about that later. Number 68, Pretty White Girl Sings Dave's Thoughts. The second ever episode of Chappelle Show featured a pretty white girl singing Dave's thoughts. And if this sketch doesn't prepare you for future episodes of Chappelle Show, nothing will. From
The police never looked for Tupac and Biggie's murderer
to
OJ didn't do it. On second thought, yeah, he did.
and of course Dave trying to give his number to the singer, this sketch is a brief but very concentrated dose of Chappelle's Show. Plus, we learn Dave's opinion about lesbians, which was not really a shock.
For real, nigga, I like lesbians. But I digress from my point.
Number 67, Zapped. Zapped. Another gem from season 1. This sketch, while funny, definitely feels like an early Chappelle Show sketch, but the unapologetically traumatic experiences that Dave and the WB give us in this segment are mind-blowing. We see Dave play a prank on a pair of siblings, telling them that their parents are dead, a cheating prank gone wrong, and a bank robbery prank gone really wrong. I would have loved to see a Zapped Part 2 in the later stages of the show, and I can't help but think that somewhere in the world a young Eric Andre was watching this thinking, interesting. Number 66, Knee High Park. A very beloved sketch from Chappelle's Show, we get a look at what Sesame Street on crack would look like. From drug awareness to STDs, all the not-for-safe kids content gets delivered in a funny sing-song way. The highlight of this sketch for me was Charlie Murphy's Stinky the Grum character and his song, Fuck It. But we also got more puppet goodness voiced by Chappelle and Snoop Dogg, a classic sketch, but in my opinion, doesn't even crack the top 50.
Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to make me a nice feces sandwich.
Number 65, Jury Duty Interview. Dave sets up this very topical sketch by saying how he might have had a different opinion to the jurors in famous cases with black celebrities. The obvious start-off joke is the O.J. Simpson trial, and this sketch rapidly gets into the absurd when Dave asks,
What black man don't have some bloody gloves on his property?
before producing a pair of bloody gloves while sitting in the witness box. We ponder how easily identifiable Michael Jackson's penis is, and finish up with what it would take for Dave to find R. Kelly guilty of urinating on a 15-year-old girl.
Exactamundo. The defense rests, sir.
Number 64, I Know Black People. One of the longest sketches in the history of Chappelle's show, this legitimate quiz of a variety of people on black culture is a fantastic watch. Dave asks a series of questions to a professor of African American studies, an NYC police officer, Neil Brennan, Dave's co-writer on Chappelle's show, a Korean grocery store owner, a DJ, a social worker, a high school student, and a barber from Brooklyn who claims all of his customers are black. We touch on subjects like loose cigarettes, the Jeffersons theme song, and of course, a badonkadonk. This sketch has a short interlude, which was the Brenda episode of When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong, so this is one of the most interesting and funny episodes of Chappelle's show from start to finish. Number 63, Tyrone Intervention. In this edition of Tyrone, we see him getting an intervention from his friends. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why his friends are all so well off. And while Tyrone would get much funnier as the season goes on, any Tyrone is still entertaining, and this sketch is no exception. Number 62, Mooney on Movies. Paul Mooney is always going to be two things, blunt and hilarious. My favorite Paul Mooney sketch from Chappelle's show is definitely Mooney on Movies. We get Paul sitting between two glossy Hollywood blondes, no, not those Hollywood blondes, and they review a variety of movies, but Mooney doesn't hold back and shits all over their opinions with some very uncomfortable facts about Hollywood whitewashing. Of all the Chappelle show sketches I have questions around, this is definitely near the top. I would love to know if these two were actors playing shocked, or if they were simply two women who had no idea what was going to come out of Paul Mooney's mouth until they were all on camera together. Either way, Mooney's take on Tom Cruise playing The Last Samurai will forever go down in comedy history as one of the funniest lines ever.
Well, I've written the film. Maybe they'll produce my film. The Last Nigga on Earth, starring Tom Hanks. How about that?
I love the fact that Dave Chappelle idolizes and adores this man so much that he didn't hesitate to give Mooney his own segments on Chappelle's show. On May 19, 2021, Mooney died from a heart attack at the age of 79. Rest in peace to a true pioneer for modern comedy. And number 61, the Hip Hop News. An underrated sketch from season 3, the Hip Hop News is a quick news report with what appears to be a spectre in the form of Chuck Taylor? No, not that Chuck Taylor. In this breaking news segment, Chappelle is basically just reading hip-hop lyrics as regular dialogue. While the sketch is short and Chuck looks like a white, ghoulish-like creature, the choice of lyrics for this sketch make it laugh out loud funny, and that's why it gets this list's number 61 spot. Thanks for checking out part 1 of my Chappelle's Show countdown. Let me know in the comments what sketch you think is going to be number 1. Like this video to support the channel, subscribe to be notified for parts 2 and 3, and as always everyone, be well, stay safe, look after your friends, and see you in the next video. Peace.